Was there anything else on what the home play that you've done so far and what you've come up with that you want to chat about before I jump into week 3?
I love the idea of the journey. You know, whether you're on a boat, whether you're in a plane, I like the idea of going on a journey. I think it's great. I love the concept. It's really simple to understand.
Nice.
And it works extremely well. So keep doing that. It's great.
Nice. You like all the metaphors and the
Hmm. Yeah, I
awesome.
mean, on one of the last week's home play, you said the 5P plan, and then who's going to be the pilot? I put, I will fly the plane to destination functionality.
Nice.
So
Nice.
it's almost like a holiday. We're going on holiday to functionality.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. Love it. Awesome. Yeah, what I love doing is taking things that I've learned and like bringing them to life in a way that's like really fun and not just easy, but fun and creative for people to get.
Yeah.
So I really, I've I didn't have to put a lot of thought into doing it because I just did what I would do naturally.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that it's actually working because there's been a lot of, like, from yourself and Cheryl, that, you know, the metaphors and the whole visuals are really helping take away
Yeah.
the information.
Yeah,
Cool.
it is. And it's that whole thing, you know, who's flying the plane? It's like, who's driving the bus? Who's flying the plane? I am. And where are we going? Wherever I fucking want to go. You
That's
know,
it.
let's set a destination and let's go there. So before I started this program, there wasn't a destination. It was just like, we're just sorting out dysfunctional teams and stuff like that. Now, if I can
Right.
say to them, let's go to destination functionality, what's that mean to you? You know, because functionality means to all sorts of things to different people. So if I can elicit that from them, and I say to them, you know, let's turn your team around, let's have functionality. What is functionality for you? And then
Nice.
they come up with the language around it, and that's what we drive towards.
Ooh, that's hot. Make a note of what you've just said, or remind yourself to, keep thinking around that, because that conversation is going to be useful for when we look at sales.
Great. Beautiful.
Yeah, cool. All right. So I'm going to do the cheesy old welcome thing for the video.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. So welcome to week 3, SoulTrader Case Study Implementation Program. It's a lot of words. Today we're going to be, or tonight, we're going to be looking at creating content. So far we've looked at connecting with who you help, and we've looked at looking at what you help them with. And Steve and I have just been quickly chatting before this and talking about, how that's being applied so far. And so, I trust you're getting on well. Now, look, let's go through and have a look at what it means to create content, what it's going to do for you. Let me just see. Yep, good. My slides are good. So the problem is that if we just have a strategy of an awesome mentor of mine put this metaphor in my head, and it's just seemed to stick, no pun intended. But if we have a strategy of just throwing shit at a brick wall, hoping that it sticks, whilst that can be fun, or, it can be creative, or it can seem spontaneous, after a while, if we've got that strategy in place, it can become tiring, because after a while, we want to see a result. We want to see a return on what we're putting out there creatively from our soul to the world. We want to see some sort of return on that. Would you agree?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's very necessary that we have, or we learn at least, some awesome frameworks that are proven to sort of help you take what's in here from all of your experience, and bring your messages into the world to showcase what you help people with within a framework that really does get a result and really does get people's attention. Like meerkats. Yeah, we want people to be going, Alan? Not really.
Steve.
Steve.
Alan.
Oh, I love that clip. So hold on, let me just find my yep, gotcha. Find my slides. Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to putting a framework in place, because I think frames are awesome. If you can,
Yeah.
like we learned at Meta One, if you get the frame, you don't need to worry about the detail. Just go with the big picture, plonk things into the frame, and off they go.
Thank you for mentioning that on the call, because that is exactly what it does. When we've got the strategy of every single time gearing up to prepare something for the world to read or see or watch, and we don't have a framework, it's like we're starting from scratch every single time. And it just becomes hard. And what we want to do is we want to learn how to create effective content, effective copy, because, we want it to be able to speak to our people, because we've done the work, we've learned who we're speaking to, what we help them with, and now we want to start speaking. And that's the point of looking at and going through and teaching you about how to create this content. So the way I like to look at it, and I just want to plant the seed here, is that there's going to come a point in your business, and it may be sooner rather than later, where a lot of the stuff can be automated. Okay, a lot of the stuff can be automated, but the reason why I want to build it into, bring it into the implementation program, is because I believe that we should know how to, do the groundwork and know how to, understand the psychology behind content, and understand, what's been put out there and why it's effective, so that, so that we have that understanding. It's like when I learned to drive, I learned to drive a manual, and it was hard. And I stalled a couple of times, and, I got a few horns honked at me, and et cetera, et cetera. But you know what? I rather that than have just, learned to drive an automatic and then just cruised around and done whatever. So this is sort of what we're doing here, is we're going to go through and learn like the manual way of creating content, understanding what's going on behind it. Cool. So if we don't, as I mentioned, if we've got the strategy of let's just throw shit, see what sticks, right? Then with no system, then, that, I mean, if you look at that picture itself, it's sort of tiring in itself. Like we look at other people around us, maybe on social media, maybe our peers, and we sort of notice that other people are doing really good content, and we're sort of, if we don't have our systems or we don't know the frameworks, we're sort of like scratching our head going, okay, all right, let's try and figure out what these people are doing. And so we're like reading through their content and potentially just copying what they're doing, but without understanding what's happening behind it. And so, sometimes we're going to get a good response, sometimes we're not. And so then it becomes a question of like, is it just me, or are other people just really good at content and I'm not going to be? And this, this is a form of like, I don't know, magical thinking, but it's like what we can do is play a smarter game and just go behind what people are doing, or what, how it's effective to create content, and then work within those frameworks.
It's a bit like the why, isn't it? It's working out the why.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it work? Why does that work and that doesn't?
That's right. And what I'm going to teach you is very much how driven as well. So just how to do it, right? Mm-hmm. How to do it. It takes away any uncertainty about, if people are just woke up awesome as soul traders or entrepreneurs, and they've just got the gift of the gab, or they've got the gift of the hand, or whatever. And it's like, no, everyone's working within a framework. So that's what we're going to be going through. Now, again, if we don't have our frameworks and we don't understand how to create, effective content or copy, then, it's just that it's just like a colorful mess. It's like we're inspired to give and we're inspired to put it out there, but at the end of the day, it's just a little bit messy, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I used to watch my grandma bake cakes, and she just used to throw shit in the bowl, not literally, but she used to throw the flour, throw the eggs and everything. There was no measuring cups or no spoons or anything. but damn, did it taste good. And I thought, and some of us sort of think, if other people are just out there having a go and throwing things together, then we can too. But little do we know that there's actually frameworks that people are they understand those frameworks and they're working within those. So that's what we're going to look at today, because simply just throwing things, in a random pattern doesn't really work. And what I did learn about my grandma's cakes is that she'd actually baked them like 120 times over, that she just knew how much the measurements were. And so it's that thing again where there is a framework being used, we just might not see it. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So lastly, what I'll put up here is that the biggest thing with working without a framework is that and this is definitely from my experience and some of my clients' experiences, is that when we think it's getting hard or doubt starts to kick in because, things we're doing are not working, we just continue to push harder. And one of the mistakes that can be made is thinking that consistency would just solve the problem, just consistently going for it and putting stuff out there without the frameworks. But what that can do is lead to burnout. We actually lose inspiration a bit, like with what we're doing, and we become tired because it's hard pushing a boulder up a hill. Yeah. And at the end of the day, even if we are consistent, we must look at our return on what's happening and weigh it up that way as business owners.
It almost comes back to that Einstein quote: definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Doesn't matter how hard you push the boulder, if it's if it's not getting you the results, there's no point in pushing the damn thing.
That's it. That's definitely it. So we're going to look at playing a smarter game through this module, and we're going to look at what happens when we do have the framework, what happens when we understand how to create effective content. What happens is that we can get to work, and it's exciting to put stuff out, knowing that our people who we've chosen to wear the cape for and, drive Batmobile around and all the rest of it, who we have vowed essentially to protect and serve and deliver a promise for, we become excited about putting our stuff out there because we know that they will hear it. So if we do know how to create effective content, then the message hits. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a paintball mask, and that's paintball. That's really big, but I think, does that look like a paintball mask?
Does, yep. Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely.
Cool. So the message hits home for our people, right? We've done all this groundwork of learning about them and what they want, and what their fears are, and et cetera, that when we speak, it hits. Yeah, it lands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's one of the cool things about creating content, and we know, and we've got the frameworks to use. Second thing is I did have a cheeky smile and thought of you, Steve, when I chose this picture. Is that people stand to attention when we speak. They stand to attention because, they know that what we're speaking about is for them. It's essentially like, we build that respect with them because everything we say, it's like we're talking directly into their soul. And that's why we've gone through and had a look into the soul of our avatar or of our people, is because when we speak, we want it to hit home, and we want to start to build that relationship and connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep. Totally.
And awesome. And then here we've got, instead of the boulder and pushing that up the bloody hill, we bring out the guns, right? We bring out the machines, the tools, and the frameworks to be able to help us deliver that message and have it hit home and have them connecting with it. Okay. So this is all about playing a smarter game and we do this because we want to help our people, and to help them, they need to hear us. Agreed?
Totally. Yep.
Cool. Awesome.